Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Porch on this great Friday morning. And kind of an exciting morning to be with my guest. And my guest today is Sierra Zukowski from Medicine Hat.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
She's part of the youth of the world. And just when you think the youth of the world aren't that great, we are going to change your mind this morning.
That's why I am here.
That's why you're here.
Among other things.
Yes. So we're going to talk to Sierra about her life, although it hasn't gone that many years, but she's done well with her life. She's an interesting lady. And we're just going to talk about her life and her journey to where she is today and where she wants to go in the future. And she's got a big future ahead of her. And so we're going to let Sierra start from her early days in Medicine Hat. And you can tell us all about your story, and we'll chat in between stories.
Great.
So go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Where to start? Okay, yeah. So I am born and raised in Medicine Hat. I've lived here my whole life. I went to grade school here, then went to the college here, and now I'm started my career here. So I've been in this city for a while and sort of explored it and done many different great things here. So I guess so broad. I'm like, okay, where do I start?
Let's slow down because we went really fast through about 12 years there.
Yes, we did.
But you were an active person.
Yes.
Right. So you weren't, stay at home and play video games until 4 a.m. and
no. I feel a little bit bad for my parents looking back now because they were constantly driving me everywhere. So whether it was to choir or to play rehearsal or to sports or to dance, I kind of had touches in all of those fields growing up. I think of myself almost as a person that's a jack of all trades a little bit. I've always been interested in many different things. So I've always loved sports and a lot of different sports, but I've also always been interested in the arts and music. And I see that continuing in my life today, but it really started growing up. And I think I have my parents to thank for that because they were really supportive and driving me everywhere and getting me introduced to sports, throwing around the ball, kicking around a soccer ball in the backyard. Golfing from a very young age. And then also just drawing and having art supplies and doing all that sort of stuff. So
they were pretty good people, these parents of yours.
They are really good people. I probably don't tell them enough, but they are great people. Yes.
Yeah. I think they are. Yeah, I think you did okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you graduated from high school, and then you wanted to pursue this program at the college and at the Medicine Hat College. Mm-hmm. And so I'd like you to tell us about why you did that and how that. And was that a 4-year program?
3-year program.
3-year program.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could talk to us about that. And then where you placed at different businesses for practicums, and just kind of tell us that whole story.
Yeah, so I guess let's start with my decision, and just after graduating high school. So I want to start by saying I'm a very indecisive person. So when I'm graduating from nice world of high school, and now I have this whole world in front of me, and I'm this person with a million different interests, it was really hard for me to decide what I actually wanted to do. Do I go and do something in sciences? Do I go do something in history or arts and culture, or maybe a different path? So just sometimes having that world of possibilities in front of you is almost paralyzing. And I felt a little bit like that as the months of high school were winding down. But we have a great college here in Medicine Hat, and I had a brother and sister that both took at least 1 year at the college. And it's at home, it's comfortable, so I decided to just start looking at some programs at the college. And it was actually my dad that had brought home a brochure for the visual communications program at the college.
Oh.
And I'd never heard of the program before. I didn't know that we had a program like that. But what it is a mix of fine arts and graphic design. And now the program's actually called Art and Design. But when I took it, it was called Visual Communications, but same program. So we looked at the brochure, said, oh yeah, that looks interesting. Like, I've always been into arts. I've always been creative and like to solve problems creatively, use creative thinking skills. So I met with a counselor for the program, got better feel of it. And one of the things I really enjoyed about the program, or what appealed to me about it, was they had these work term placements built into the program. So after your second and your third year of classes, you have a work term placement in the summer months where you get on the job experience, and you get paid for it in most situations too. So that's a really great jumping off point because, as I'm sure most people know, lots of places won't just hire a student that's freshly graduated without any work experience.
Yeah.
So I registered for the program. I got accepted, and I started the next fall, and kind of the rest is history. There's a lot in between there, but yeah, that's kind of, I just went for it. I didn't really even apply for any other programs. I thought, this is something I'm good at, and most importantly, this is something I really enjoy doing.
So where were your placements?
So for my work term placements, after my second year, so my first work term placement, I worked at Desert Bloom Golf Club. So, and I felt like a little bit of a traitor because before this, I had worked at the Medicine Hat Golf and Country Club for 6 years in their back shop and in their pro shop. That was my first job. I loved it there, and that was actually the only job I had had before these jobs in the creative industry, what I went to school for. But they were changing over ownership. I had connections to the owners, and I worked there that summer, and ran their social media accounts, helped marketing for their events and their tournaments, designed posters. And I also worked a little bit in the pro shop and running banquets and kind of all over the place,
a lot
honestly.
of stuff.
But most of it was focused on website, social media, and graphic design work for packages and posters. So it was really great, and it was still comfortable. I was in that golf course environment, so it was fun combining those two things. And of course, I got to play free golf, so so you can't really complain about that.
No, you did good. Yeah, you did well that one. And then the next one?
Yes. So my second work term placement was a bit of an interesting story because it was in the year of 2020. And as we all know, that is when COVID started. I guess COVID started affecting us so greatly. So it was kind of an interesting situation where I had applied and interviewed for a job with the TREX program, so the Traveling Exhibition Program, which is an arts program run through the Esplanade in Medicine Hat. And I applied for this job, I did my interview, and I actually got offered the job. And this was all in early 2020, before we were even thinking about COVID in Canada here. So I was very excited for it. I was completing my last few months of school, getting ready to graduate, getting ready to start this new job. Then things started to get a little weird in the world. As we all know, we started hearing more news stories. And I connected with my future employers. I said, sort of, what's the situation? I know things are changing really rapidly. And they said, no, we're going to go ahead with the job. But a few days later, the plug had to be pulled. It just, people were starting to work from home. Everything was just changing really quick. So I ended up not getting that job originally. And what the program, the art and design program, did to sort of shift their work terms, because this was happening to a lot of different students, was they went into the community and around the college, and they sourced projects from nonprofits and from professors and faculty and staff around the college, and just got some projects for us to work on.
Oh,
and they were unpaid, so that's not great, but, still great experience, and still getting to start our work terms, even though there's no jobs to be had because of COVID. So I did that for 2 months. And then in July of 2020, I got a message from someone from the city at the Esplanade saying that they're opening up a graphic design job there for a summer student. And my name had been recommended because I had already been known and accepted for this previous job. So they felt confident in just offering me that summer student graphic designer at the Esplanade job. So that was really great. So that was kind of my foot in the door at the Esplanade and with the city. So I worked there with their marketing and promotions team it was supposed to be only 2 months, but it got extended a few times. And eventually they were able to reopen up my original job offer with the TREX program.
Oh, wow.
And I was able to transition into that, and that's where I still am today. So it all ended up working out in the long run.
And you graduated from the program.
And I graduated, finished the work term, and then continued working at the same job after graduating.
So the job you have at TREX now, what is that job? What do you do there?
Yeah, so I do a lot of different things at TREX because there's only 2 of us that work just with the TREX program, myself and then the program manager and curator. So I kind of wear a lot of different hats, which I really like because I get a lot of different touches with different things. One of the main things would be marketing and communications for our exhibitions and for our gallery space. So I get to work on our website, run our social media accounts, do design work. So whether it's printed graphics of banners that will be hung in the space or displayed digitally, designing publications for the exhibitions, which is really fun. That's one of my favorite things. And then I also help installing the exhibitions and framing artworks and building crates so that the artwork can travel around the province.
You frame?
Yes.
You make frames?
I don't make, we order our frames, but then there's actually quite a few steps that you wouldn't necessarily think of when you just see artwork on the wall. So you need to order the frame, but when you order the frame, it's just 4 pieces of wood glued together. So you need to cut plexiglass, cut a mat so that it has a nice border around it. There's so many different types of frames, and I did not know this before working there. There's just all the different ways that you can secure the frame, so many different ways. So having the artwork secure inside of that frame, there's a lot of different steps, putting on backing, and then whether you use framing points or whether you use a different system. But so that's all something I've got to learn and work with my hands, which is really fun.
Wow. I had no idea about that.
Yeah. If you look at the back of a frame, and I'm sure no two will be alike.
Really? So this job that you have at TREX are you happy there for the rest of your days? Or you don't want to say that, no, I'm going to quit tomorrow, but obviously you're young. You may have some entrepreneurial spirit in you. So if you were going to write your perfect job and you reported to that job on Monday, what would that be?
Right. Again, I'll go back to me being very indecisive and not liking to put plans too firm in place. But no, of course I have. I love my job at TREX Space and with the team there. It's really great. I think down the road, I would love to be a business owner. And another passion of mine, there seems to be so many with sports and arts, but I love cooking and I love food. And I just love the idea of food bringing people together and being a gathering space and a social point. I think it's so important, especially after we've been through the past 2 years of COVID, just people coming together and shared positive experiences. So with all that preamble, I guess my dream job would be owning a pizza restaurant. That's my favorite food. Second is my grandma's homemade pierogies, but pizza gets number 1.
Both of them are really good.
They're both really good.
Yeah, you're going down the right road.
Yeah. And I really also like the idea of a restaurant. People say, oh, why didn't you decide to take a business program or or take a cooking program. But I think that all the skills I've learned in my art and design background and with marketing and with building a brand and communicating to audiences and creatively problem solving would really apply to a restaurant or to any business. So I think that it all just fits together. Sometimes it seems scattered, but I think everything really just fits together and helps to build everything else.
Well, I'm not big on advice, but the one thing I would tell you is hard work will always win, right? It will. Honesty and hard work.
No matter
got
what
it.
field.
No, doesn't matter. It's just, that's where you have to be. And I think for you, that's not difficult. So you'll be okay.
Thank you.
So, so what are your feelings about the art community in the city of Medicine Hat?
Yes. So one of the best parts of my job, and I didn't even mention it when I was explaining it before, was I get to interact with so many artists and meet so many artists in Medicine Hat. And I think the arts community in Medicine Hat is like a little bit underground, a little bit like hidden. But once you get there and once you start meeting these people, it's so vibrant and there's so much going on. And like people are creating so many different things right in Medicine Hat, and the average citizen of Medicine Hat wouldn't even know it. There's such a big ceramic scene in Medicine Hat, and I think having Medelta just explodes that. That's kind of where it all stems from. But you would not believe how many artists just have kilns in their basement, and they're just they're turning on the wheel or they're hand building clay, and it's really great. And I also think a lot of the arts community in Medicine Hat are really big advocates for themselves. You know, we don't have as many gallery spaces as bigger cities, but people find creative ways to display their work. Like there's art shows hung at cafes, and I think the artists are really good about going out there and forging those relationships so that they can get their name out, that they can make it for themselves as artists, whether it's a full-time thing or a side thing. And I see it only continuing to grow, which is really great for our community.
So if somebody in grade 11 phoned you and said, Sierra, I know about you because of this guy or that guy, and I kind of want to do what you're doing, let's go for coffee and I need some advice.
What would I say?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So I think the biggest thing, and this is in the arts and design, but it's in everything really, is just try to meet as many people as you can. Try to go to events. In the art world, it's really unique. Maybe not for the last few years over COVID, but there's receptions and events that are happening pretty regularly. So go out to those art shows at the Esplanade, at Truck Space, at the college, at Medelta, and you'll start seeing the same crowds, and you'll meet really interesting people that are working in the arts, that are practicing the arts, and then just get a better idea of how people are making that work for them. There's also opportunities to volunteer. That's another great way to meet people and to get that experience and to give back to your community. And pretty much just immerse yourself in the community. Like I said, it might be a little hidden at first, but if you go tapping, if you go looking around, it's just going to be a flood of what you'll find. And I think high schools in Medicine Hat are doing a great job of teaching arts and even new media, new forms of arts, digital art and design. And I think if you just really make those connections, that'll take you a long way, whether you're pursuing arts, design, or whatever you're pursuing.
Yeah.
And I also invite people that maybe aren't artists themselves to really consider going to an arts event or checking out a gallery as they're walking downtown one day, because so many people I interact with come and say, well, I'm not an artist, so I don't know like if I should come into this space. But then they come and they see something great and maybe they get inspired, or maybe they just have a better day because they got to see some great art, or it's not just for artists.
So I've lived here all my life. And where you are is where the old Kresge's used to be. And I used to go there a lot with my dad, my mom and dad. and Mrs. Tonks worked there, and it was a great place. And so when I went, and I hadn't been in there since, and I didn't know what Trex was. I had no idea that was a gallery. And then Ina said, Sierra works there, and because my wife knew you from volleyball, and I've known your dad for 35 years, many, many years. So I walked in there and I thought, wow, this, because I'd never been to a gallery in my life. And been to, like Inspire and places like that have a lot, but I thought it was great. Yeah. And I will go back. It was kind of a neat place to hang out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of these spaces, we're trying to make them more comfortable, and so people can come bring a coffee in. Yeah, especially Trex. It's a really great place in downtown, and we just want to talk to you about art or talk to you about what's going on. Bring a coffee. That's a great place. Yeah. Okay, Sierra, thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me.
And as I said, if anybody's complaining about the youth of the world, I hope we just change their mind. And there's some really good kids out there, and I think the future is big for you. You just got to work hard, and you'll do that.
Yes.
I think that genetically, you're okay that way.
I have my parents to thank again.
Yeah.
Hopefully they listen.
Yeah. No,
I might not say that to their face.
Yeah. So. No, this will be sent to them. Okay. Very good.